I'm Dina Jadish with Vicarious Multimedia, and this is episode 1 of the new P4 Companies video blog series. The P4 companies are made up of sister companies, P4 Security Solutions and P4 Protective Services. They're a Chicago-based organization, each of which offers a vast array of security solutions for both public and private sectors. And today I'm joined by Brian Ferguson, who is the Director of Training and Logistics for the P4 companies. Brian, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
Good morning. Okay, so today we're going to be discussing CIT training, which is something that's offered by the P4 companies to all of its security personnel. But before we dig into that, I was hoping that you could give me a little bit more information about your background and what it is you do for the P4 companies.
Sure. So I'm the Director of Training for the P4 Academy. Prior to that, I was the Director of Off-Duty Police for P4 Security Solutions. And I am a 20-year retired police officer. I started my career at the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office in downstate Illinois and finished my career at the Hampshire Police Department in northern Illinois, where I retired as a patrol sergeant. I'm also a veteran. I served 15 years in the Army National Guard, and when I got out, my rank was a first lieutenant. I've been with P4 in some shape or form for over 11 years, and I've been training law enforcement and civilians since about 1997.
Okay, that is a very impressive resume. It sounds like we are certainly speaking to the right person today to give us some insight about these training offerings through the P4 companies. So let's dig right in. The topic of the day, the hot topic of the day, is something called CIT training. And I was wondering if you could give me a little bit more information about what CIT training stands for and what exactly it's designed to do.
Sure. So CIT stands for Crisis Intervention Training. Basically what it does is it teaches our security officers how to recognize somebody that's in crisis and de-escalate the situation before it becomes physical.
Very good. So is there a way or an example rather that you could give me, a real world example of when a P4 security officer might kind of go back and rely on their CIT training to apply a specific technique?
Sure. So there was an officer that we had work in one of our dispensaries where we provide security for them. And there was a customer that was, unbeknownst to us at the time, suffering from schizophrenia. They were off their medication. So the officer, by using the techniques that they learned through CIT training, was able to recognize that this person was in crisis, calm the situation down as they were starting to get more and more irate, and to the point that he was able to resolve it without it becoming physical and get the person the help that they needed.
Is this training something that's mandatory for security officers in the state of Illinois?
It's not. There's legislation that was just passed to make it mandatory for police officers in Illinois, but nothing in there about security officers. And we feel that it's not only is it beneficial for our clients, but also makes our security officers better rounded and better able to deal with whatever situations might come up. So we're trying to get ahead of the power curve and get all of our security officers trained in CIT before it becomes mandatory.
Absolutely. Yeah, I would assume that it would put them ahead of the game in that aspect. So CIT is part of something, if I'm understanding this correctly, called the P4 Academy, which provides additional training offerings to the P4 staff. Can you tell me more about why this academy was created and what else it offers?
Sure. So the P4 Academy was created to be a separate entity with our sister companies. And the reason it was created is because we wanted to be able to cater our training to whatever the client might need. Some would want our security officers to be trained in AED, first aid, CPR, and put an emphasis on that. And others might want the CIT training or customer service training. And in developing this academy, we brought in several instructors with, like myself, over 20 years experience in training both civilian and law enforcement. And we teach everything from the basic 20-hour security officer's license up through firearms and tactics to CIT, customer service, the first aid gauntlet with CPR and AED, stuff like that. And we firmly believe that if we're going to be the best of the best, not only do we have to have the best of the best instructors, but also the best of the best security officers. So that was, in a nutshell, why we created the P4 Academy.
Yeah, that is a long list of training offerings, which is fantastic for staff. I did hear you mention in there customer service training, which I'm not sure that everyone would instantly associate with security services. Can you tell me more about why the P4 companies feels like that's an essential part of training for their officers?
Sure. So the security industry has evolved over the last several years. It used to be when you wanted a security officer, you wanted more of the big football player, bulky enforcer type person that was supposed to be there as a deterrent and if need be, shove people out the door and move them along. Now our clients are wanting more of a welcoming presence in their building, and it's the customer service training isn't commonly given to security officers, but we feel that it again gives them one more tool in their toolbox to make them a better security officer and better able to deal with what our clients are asking for.
Yeah, absolutely. That completely makes sense. And it does sound like the P4 companies is really striving to provide that really customizable and boutique approach in the services that they're offering to their clients.
Yes.
Great. Well, Brian, we are just about out of time, but this has been really, really helpful information. And I so appreciate you taking the time to shed some light on all the ways that P4 is focused on ensuring that their team members really have access to all of the ongoing trainings that they need so they can best serve their clients. So thank you again for taking the time.
Thank you again.
Okay, well, that just about does it for episode 1 of the new P4 Companies video blog series. To learn more about the P4 companies, visit p4secure.com or p4protective.com, where you can also subscribe to the P4 companies bi-monthly e-newsletter. And don't forget to follow the P4 companies on all of their social media pages so that you can stay up to speed on all the ways in which the P4 companies are bringing security into the next generation. I'm Dina Jadish for Vicarious Multimedia. We'll see you next time.